Beyonce, I got you. Hey, Steve, I'm ready. Okay. Hello, everybody. My name is Marshall. I'm a grateful recovering addict. Glad to be here. Feel like I'm at home, another home, you know. I'm known to have 4 or 5 homes, you know. Today, all of them are good, you know. But we kind of doing something now when we come here, you know. We always get somebody that's in the, well, not always, but lately we get somebody that's in the program, you know, part of the program, get them to come here. Let y'all hear a newcomer's voice, a fresh voice, you know what I'm saying? Somebody, you know, the difference about this thing right here, man, when we talk about, this is a feelings disease. It gets better when you go through some experiences and then relate those feelings to the experiences that you go through. And when you in here, it's limited as to what kind of experiences that you can go through other than that shit on the telephone. You know what I'm saying? You know, calling home and getting some news that you don't want and that kind of thing like that. You know what I'm saying? But man, once you get out and you started going through some experiences and you start to sometimes feeling that stuff, you know what I'm saying? And you got a place to go to process it. When you get out and you ain't got no money, I mean, it amazes me now how broke addicts can get high as much as they do. You know what I'm saying? I mean, one of the things you did when you were in treatment or you know, another facility, you know, they make you do like a bank account, or not a bank account, but they make you do like an account of all the money that you done spent. You know, here it is, you broke, ain't got a job, you done spent $60,000. What? You know, making somebody else rich. You know what I mean? So that's part of recovery for me today is the holding on to my damn money, holding on to it. Ain't making nobody else rich no more, you know? But anyway, man, we got a couple of people. We got about three people that's going to speak. And you know, and that's good, man. We kind of mix it up a little bit, you know? What I like to talk about today, man, is, and I mentioned it to you earlier, the program that we are a part of, you know, freedom from active addiction. Freedom from active addiction, you know? And man, I've been around long enough, man, to frame this shit in all different kind of ways. You know what I'm saying? You know, this is a 1 day at a time program. I mean, I've been living long enough to understand, man, whatever demons you got, man, if you don't do something, if you don't address the demons, they chasing you for the rest of your life. They chasing you for the rest of your life, you know? And I mean, when you sit here sometimes, you can't fathom that. Well, I was clean for 2 years. I was clean for 30 days. Then all of a sudden I get an urge and I'm off and running. And you know what the end result's going to be again. Same shit. Talk to some of these people that have been through this 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times. You know? They know the same shit, man. JS, institutions and death. You know? Same thing. Nothing changes about that. You know? Now, I don't know what it takes for the light bulb to go off in your head to say, you know what? This shit they talking about in one of these programs, this shit is real. It works. They telling the truth. You know? Man, you cannot do this shit on your own. I mean, you cannot. We done had the smartest You know what I'm saying? They come in, they couldn't do it. We done had the dumbest to come in, they can do it. And we done had the in-between to come in, and they can't do it. You can't do this by yourself, man. You cannot arrest those demons by yourself. Take that to the bank. You know what I'm saying? Man, if you don't know what to do when you get an urge, you know, and I said the demons all the time, you know, and I just telling you, just to share this with you. Running it through the steps, man, I stopped playing the lottery. I stopped playing the lottery, you know, and that shit was difficult because I used to be riding and I pull up behind a car, I see the number, I say, oh, damn, that's a good number to play. You know what I'm saying? I play that shit, you know what I'm saying? But it's the same thing, man. It's the same thing. The end result ain't never what you think or never what you want it to be. And one of the reasons why I stopped playing, because my wife hit me with a common sense statement one day. You know, man, how much money have you won playing the lottery? You know what I'm saying? You know, and I mean, at this point in my life, I was like, you know what? You're right. You know what I'm saying? I ain't winning no damn money. And then I win $40. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you might win 100 or 200. You might win 500 or whatever. You know what I'm saying? You're not even getting back the money that you done put into it. You know? But that's just crazy. I mean, you know, we can address, man, whatever it is that's chasing us like that, that's riding us. You know what I'm saying? You know? And I'm all for that, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm all for that, you know? But the one of the first speakers that we're going to have to come up, Beyonce. You hear me? Come on, Beyonce. Talk about it for a little bit. Talk about it for a little bit.
What up, y'all? I'm an addict named Beyonce.
Hey, Beyonce.
All right, so when I first came into the program, they told me that the literature is very important. So this is the basic text. I'm going to just read page 3. It's called Who is an Addict? Because before I accepted the fact that I was an addict, I identified out. I was different. Y'all have a problem and I don't. So, who is an addict? Most of us do not have to think twice about this question. We know. Our whole life and thinking was centered in drugs in one form or another. The getting and using and finding ways and means to get more. We live to use and use to live. Very simply, an addict is a man or woman whose life is controlled by drugs. We are people in the grip of a continuing and progressive illness whose ends are always the same: jails, institutions, and death. So, before I started recovery, I was in this very jail, November 27th of 2022. My clean date is December 11th, 2022. So God had to rescue me, which I took for punishment by coming to jail, but it was really being rescued. And once I got out, I spent 10 days here. That was enough for me. I got out December 7th, and I went back to doing the same things that brought me into jail. It was prostitution, it was doing drugs, doing whatever Beyonce wanted to do. And so I ended up in a psych ward December 10th because I decided to go on a 3-day binge off of some drugs. I'm going to keep it, some drugs. And I ended up jumping off the balcony of the second floor balcony of a hotel on Arthur Ashe Boulevard and running down the street butt naked at 7 a.m. And I'm so glad that they didn't take me back to jail. They took me to Richmond Community and they took me to the 3rd floor. I spent 4 days there and they sent me to the healing place. I don't know if y'all heard about it, but it's a treatment center and that place changed my life. And I was so happy because ultimately I was homeless. I didn't have a home that had my name on it. Granted, I'm prostituting out of hotels and stuff and not sleeping on the street, but the disease does not care if I come from Park Avenue or the Park Bench. And ultimately, my life was unmanageable. And so when I got to the healing place, they taught me that the disease is a feelings disease and that only 10% of my problem is the drugs. The other 90% is me and my thinking, my actions, my behaviors. And that basically I was an addict before I ever used drugs, before I ever had a drink of alcohol. Because an addict is a selfish, self-centered type of person, period, who deals with obsession and compulsion. And it's actually a physical allergy. Like basically my liver produces too many or too little enzymes to break down the drugs. I'm allergic to drugs and alcohol. Like I see some people drink one drink or, take one line. That don't exist in my world. Like I'm going to take your drink and your line if you're not going to finish it. And I realized that that set off the phenomenon of craving is what it calls it. One is too many, 1,000 is never enough. And yeah, for me, I just thought I was going harder than the paint, but I was destroying myself slowly. And so when I finally realized that I cannot use successfully ever, like I've tried, okay, I'm gonna only get high on the weekends. I'm gonna only get high if I'm going out. I'm gonna only do this and that. I failed multiple times. And so coming into this program, of course, I didn't come with a willing spirit. They say we have to be honest, open minded, and willing. And I was none of that in the beginning. I wanted to do it my way. I felt that, I could do it Beyonce's way, but that failed. So when I finally surrendered, they told me to do some step work, find a sponsor. You can't do it alone. I was like, I'm going to do it with my higher power. God got me and all that. But what I didn't realize is that God brought me to this fellowship. And I feel like this spiritual, not religious program has saved so many people's lives. What makes me so different? And so what I do is basically I go to meetings. They say meetings are our medicine. They tell us to do 90 meetings in 90 days. I probably did 200 meetings in 90 days because I needed it. I'm stubborn. I'm selfish. I'm self-centered. If I don't get what I want, there's a problem. And so I have to continually make sure that my spiritual mindset is focused so that I don't go back to those ways because it's not going to ever disappear. There's no cure, but it can be arrested. And yeah, here we are. It's a pleasure to be here on the other side because, yeah, over there ain't no joke. And you can change your life. I did it. Thanks for letting me share.
Thank you, Beyonce. I loved it. I loved it. We're going to get our guy. We're going to get John to introduce this next guy. Coming up, Mr. Shithouse. Hey, for y'all that don't know, hey, look, 35 years ago, this was John. This was me and John. John was introducing me. Hey, man, look, I'm still here. You know what I'm saying? Can't get rid of it. Huh?
They were testing my memory.
Oh yeah.
I can't remember
Hey,
shit.
John, so you got him.
Oh, him that?
Yeah, no, well, Tay.
Wire Tay.
Yeah, and then him. Yeah.
Hey, look, real good to be here tonight.
Yeah.
Man, I love coming up in here. I love seeing Marshall. I love to see the
Hey, Bobby,
peanut gallery growing out there.
You introduced Sheila. Okay.
We'll get to that in a minute.
Hey, you won't even listen.
While Marshall sorts that out,
yeah.
I had a great day today. And I like that Marshall brought up the word demons. I had a demon-free day today. I mean, I'm just living the dream out there. Pretty much doing what kind of needs to get done, but I like doing what needs to get done. So it ain't like I'm really busting my ass doing anything. But I always think back, I got a kid helping me in my yard today and inside. He's in drug court for the second time. I said, what didn't you learn the first time? And then he told me the history on how things happen. And I said, one's too many, 1,000 never going to be enough. I mean, whoever heard of microdosing mushrooms for an addict? Sooner or later, you're going to macro, right? You're going to get it done. And, I hear that story over and over and over that, we think it's going to be different this time. Trust me, when you're in our club, it don't never get better. And I was talking to a young lady before the meeting started. I'm not going to break her anonymity or nothing. Third DUI, would have been 4, but 1 got dropped down. But, hey, look. It don't change. We are that piece of population that we don't use no matter what. And that's what works for us. And if you can get that one small idea working in your brain that I can't use no matter what, then you realize, oh, I ain't got to do this alone. There's a whole bunch of us out there, because Marshall talked about this. That was our topic Sunday night at my home group, was humility, humble. And I said, I think I came to grips with being humble when I realized I couldn't stop using it on my own, that I needed you people to help me. And together we can, have a pretty good life. Now, when you come to a meeting and you look around the room, your first thought ain't, oh, these people, they're going to save my life. No, our first thought is how much we judge and how much we think of the differences and not the similarities. Well, I'm here to tell you, it's really simple to focus on the similarities. You do that, you got something. But if you're always going to be judging, you're always going to be focused on why this don't go for you, you're going to struggle. So my suggestion is, and I'm so glad we got multiple folks coming in here today, got some nice diversity and variety, but we all say the same song. Don't use no matter what. We can't do it alone. We got to get connected to the herd. We get what we get when we do what we do. If we do recovery stuff, we get recovery results. You know the story. And doing it a day at a time ain't that hard. You guys and girls, you're getting good practice up in here, living a day at a time. You're going to be well trained by the time you get out of here how to do a day at a time. And you're going to like the results. You're going to like your freedom. You're going to like the ability to eat where you want, eat what you want. You're going to, be with the person you want to be with. You're going to like all that. And if I get to live a blessed life and all I got to do is not use, hang around with you people and tell them my disease, that's pretty simple. I can do that. Now, this next woman coming up here, I first met her, like a lot of newcomers, you think, is it going to work out or not? But man, this woman she's cooking with gas right now. She's so motivated. She does so much work around McShin, always trying to help people. And I would bet money, if she stopped and thought about it, she'd realize, you know what? I stopped using drugs. I lost that desire to use drugs, and I found a new way to live. And it's that new way to live is how you stay off of that desire to use drugs. And I think the new way to live is looking pretty good on her. So I don't want to take up too much time because we got so many speakers tonight. But how about a warm Henrico welcome for Tay? Come on up here.
How y'all doing? I'm Tay. How y'all doing? First of all, I want to introduce myself. I'm an addict. My claim date is 1/4/2023. I was introduced to drugs at a young age, and it wasn't very good. It led me to jails, institutions. I've been doing time for many years. So it really didn't work out for me. But what really worked out was my mom passed away on Thanksgiving of 2022. So what happened is that I started doing drugs a whole lot. So it led me to doing meth tremendously. So after the funeral, I tried to commit suicide. So after I tried to commit suicide, I got 4 perk 30s. And what happened is that I went into an overdose. So when I went into the overdose, my best friend had found me. So when I went into the overdose, it led into a probation violation. I went into RSW Regional Jail, which is in Rappahannock, Virginia. I went into the pod for a little while, and they had this program called the McShin Pod. So I signed up for the McShin Pod, but I really didn't take it seriously the first time. So I ended up getting kicked out. So the second time I went back into it, and this lady came in there. Her name was Mandy. So Miss Mandy came into the pod, and some reason she just rubbed off on me, and I started taking it seriously, and she inspired me so much. So I end up started paying attention, became the pod leader and stuff like that. and I didn't know that I was going to come to the McShan program, which is here in Richmond. So I said I wasn't going to go, but I put in for my home plan to go home, but I started getting red flags, and the red flags was, first time they lost my home plan, the second time, something happened, and the third time my best friend had died. So I was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and change the home plan. So I end up changing the home plan, coming to McShan. So they end up giving me a few suggestions. Go to 90 meetings in 90 days, work a few steps, and just do a few things. And I took that suggestion. So I took the suggestion and I did what I was supposed to do, working steps. And by the way, that was my sponsor who came up and spoke. So I did that. Now I end up taking the PRS training. I'm a PRS. I'm an intern. I also work for McShan. Now I'm working on my forensics PRS, which I will be taking this week. So if you work the steps and work the promises of recovery, it does work, but it's up to you to work that. It's up to you. If you do what you're supposed to do, because this is not the answer. This is not the answer. And I only been out of jail 90 days, and I have accomplished so much within the 90 days. So much in 90 days. Now on Friday, I pick up my car. So within 90 days, so much has happened. And, thanks to John and Carol, it's so much that you can do. And recovery works. Recovery works. And let me tell you something, it is an awesome blessing. Thanks for letting me share.
Thank you for sharing, Tay. You getting good at that, Tay. Yeah. One thing I wanted to say, man, Tay and Beyonce, it's like, man, gave me flashbacks. You know what I'm saying? When you out there, you know what I'm saying? All people see is the outside. They don't see the inside, but, can think about those dark days, man, when you in that dark pit, and you got to make a decision. Do I take my life or do I live? And man, I contemplated a long time ago, years ago when I was out there. Man, this ain't the life for me. This ain't for me. I might as well be dead. And I also thought, well, if I ain't dead now, I ain't gonna live to see 40. I'm 72 years old now. 72 years old. And I tell anybody that's turning 50 that don't know what life is after 50, man, you missing out on something, man. This thing gets better, And my goal at 72 years old, man, is to be full of life. You know what I'm saying? Don't count me out. You know what I'm saying? I'm still here, But that I give y'all John Shinhauser. John, I want you to come up and introduce our next speaker. Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't tell you he's going to Fort Lauderdale for 9 days on Friday. His wife's out of the country. He's going down to Fort Lauderdale. He's 72. I hope when I'm 72, I get to go down to Fort Lauderdale without my wife.
Rich no more. You know what I'm saying?
Hell.
Man, I'm spending the money. You know what I'm saying?
Man, living the
my
dream.
life. You know what I'm saying?
This next woman coming up, look, I've heard her a couple times over the years. She's fire. Pay close attention. Might change your life. Sheila, come on up, man. Sheila next? Who's next? Oh, y'all got 4 people, man. That's messing me up. Come on up, stud. We'll let Marshall introduce Sheila. Hey, I brought you one of your own tonight, man. You should be glad about this.
Hey, how y'all doing tonight? All right, my name's Steve. I'm a recovering addict, alcoholic, former Orbit participant. Yeah, former Orbit participant. Henrico County Jail was probably more my permanent address than any other address I had from the time I was 18 till 2023. It's a good thing to be back here tonight. because I've always wanted to be able to come back and speak and work with inmates, but do it from the other side. It's been something I've been wanting to do for a very long time. Finally got the opportunity to do it, so I took it. I grew up in Henrico, Richmond area. Introduced to drugs and alcohol violence at a very young age. Parents got me drinking at 4. Started smoking weed in the 4th grade. Started selling crack at 16. So things got a little crazy at a very young age for me. Seen a lot of violence and everything else. But nearly there. My road to recovery started basically in 2010 in the RISE program. I went down there from 6th building, and I ain't put no effort into it. You know, I went down there, I sat there, learned some phrases, you know, didn't really do much with it, man, for real. I gained some knowledge, but I didn't stop. Went back out there a few times and kept coming back because I couldn't get past the turning my wheel over, basically. I always said, all right, I've got this under my belt. I can get back out there. You know, things that never worked out my way, never worked out. Finally, in 2020, I'm gonna skip through a lot of stuff because we got no speaker. In 2020, I was dealing with a dope addiction, something I'd never dealt with in my life. I had always used cocaine, alcohol, you know, things like that. 2020, I got involved in selling and using, at that time, heroin, but turned into fentanyl. My fiance, who was pregnant with my daughter, found out in July of 2020. She was pregnant with my daughter. I've been waiting 23 years to have another kid. And I didn't know how dope addiction affected somebody. So when she got pregnant, I told her, you're going to stop. Not knowing that you just can't stop. And the bad thing was, I told her she was going to stop, but I was going to continue getting high. I mean, that's the truth. So, so as the pregnancy went along and 2020 went along, things never got any better. I had the unemployment stuff, it ran out. My connector got locked up, so I had no way of making money. Things was really bad. I had a stroke, my face was paralyzed. It was just bad. So December 28th of 2020, I made a decision, because me and her both had warrants out for arrest, that me, her, especially my unborn child, was going to die to the disease of addiction, specifically fentanyl. So December 28th, 2020, 11 o'clock night, she went Wawa to get cigarettes. She got back in the car, basically looked at her, said, I'm sorry. Spun the tires in front of the cops, got pulled. She got mad. We went to jail. But I made a decision that that monster will kill my family. When that door closed behind me, December 28th, 2020, I was probably the happiest person ever got locked up in their life, to be honest, because I knew that that monster couldn't get to me, my fiance, or my daughter anymore. She was incarcerated also. She was up there where y'all were. And I was in 217 on February 12th. They came to me and told me that my daughter was born. So my daughter was born incarcerated into the disease of addiction before she ever took her first breath. So she was born. They came and nurse came and told me that I was, had a baby girl. She was healthy. My fiance got 3 months. I got 3 years. So my fiance went home to my daughter in April of 2021. I stayed for 3 years, but I made a decision to take orbit instead of going back to the penitentiary. Because in the penitentiary, I'm not doing nothing but learning more ways to break laws and another way to break them. And plus, the main factor was I was just tired of living like this. I couldn't do it no more. And so I took orbit. Spent a lot of time in this program. I didn't get all the benefits because of some changing of the guards and COVID and everything, but I got a lot of what I needed. I got some time to work on myself. John and them started coming back in here, was able to meet up with them, which I'm at McShin now. I've been out a little over a year. I got my PRS, peer recovery specialist license. I'm working on interning. now to be able to get my RPRS. So things are accomplishable. But in 2021, my daughter came home. Finally, I didn't see my daughter for 2 years. I never met her. I seen her on a video thing, couldn't see anybody because of COVID. Finally, October 10th, 2022, I come down the elevator and my daughter was standing there for me to see her. One of the happiest moments of my life. Every Tuesday, she would come up here, and this would be our playground, this lobby. This is where me and my daughter connected for the first time and learned each other. Came home 2023. Not gonna lie to you, everything ain't great out there. It's not easy. Sober stands for son of a bitch, everything's real. And so I walked out the door and I was faced with, the disease addiction right in my face hours after I got out. And I fought it and fought it and fought it. Started smoking weed again. I'm not gonna lie to anybody. I started smoking weed again. Made a decision one day to pick up 2 beers after work, and things kind of quickly went downhill. Started drinking more. Then in March of 2023, my brother-in-law came home from prison, and then an hour of him being out, he had passed away. So my fiance lost a brother. He was gone for a few years, came home, and within a matter of hours was gone. A few months later, I had incidental contact with fentanyl. I didn't do it, came in through my skin. I died. I was there for 20 minutes. It took 4 shots of Narcan to bring me back. My daughter was standing up over top of me saying, "Daddy sleep, daddy sleep." No, daddy was dead. Recovered from that. Just kept going, just kept moving. I'm learning to overcome adversity in life. A lot of things that used to set me back, I learned ways in the programs to deal with them. Like I said, just because you have a relapse don't mean it's over. Shit, it happens. So, everything had my own apartment, job, cars, and everything. I have health issues, so diabetes took a part of me again. Wasn't able to work, found myself back in the hotels on Williamsburg Road. I wasn't able to work. My fiance had to cover all the bills, but she was also 5 months pregnant with my twin daughters. A few months later, I finally got back to work. Went to work that morning, came home to the hotel, talked to her on the phone and said, I'll be there in 10 minutes. She said, okay. Got there, got a text that said, not coming home, I'm in jail. I'm going to jail. I'd also lost my twin daughters. So I left to go to work, and 4 hours later, I came home. My family was gone. My twin daughters was gone. My fiance was locked up. I lost my mind. So I dealt with things the way that I always dealt with them. I self-medicated, and I didn't want to feel. So I got set down for a little while, and February 2nd, finally made the choice to come back to McShin. I never came back to McShin like I said I was going to do when I got out, because I got involved with wanting to see my daughter and everything. It was a bad mistake, but it's hard to walk away from something that you hadn't seen in 2 years. That was the reason, so it was hard and I couldn't do it. My heart was where my heart was. February 2nd, I got back going into McShin. Been there for 3 months. Got my PRS like I always wanted to do. I got back to 5 months sober. But my main thing about that is, I had told one of the gentlemen I was in orbit with, I'm not going to paint you a pretty picture and act like everything's great and everything's pretty, because life ain't like that. Not everything in life is pretty and how it's painted to be. Everything's real in life. But when you come across those obstacles, because you will when you get out, we can make all the plans we want in our head while we're in here. We can. And we could think people can do this or they're going to be there. And a lot of people, and even when we have made the changes, other people ain't going to see them changes we made. They're still going to go off the old assumptions. And it's hard because you're up there, way up here, and they're still looking at you like you're way down there. Don't let that get you down. But, just keep pushing. Things will come to your life. I lost family members, my own life, and my children, all in 2023. But today I'm back up here still staying and talking to y'all, and I've got my PRS. So when you get out there in life, man, just you come across that adversity, don't let it hold you back. Just keep pushing. That's my motto now. Just keep pushing forward. Even if you're only gaining an inch a day, you're still moving forward. Thank you.
Hey, I'm loving this, man. We can do this more often. You know what I mean? Because my thinking is, you can relate to somebody that's been clean. It's a place for people that got a lot of clean time, like John, because they have been through so many experiences. There's also a place for somebody that's got 90 days, 6 months clean as well. They just starting the journey. You know what I mean? Our next speaker, our main speaker, I'm gonna get Bobby to come up and introduce her. And I want to say this about Bobby. Bobby is one of the pillows to keep this thing standing. Nobody has gotten more speakers for East and West, West and East, than Bobby has. And we love her to death.
My name is Barbie. I am a grateful recovering addict. I don't have 10 years, 14 years. I got 929 days. But I've been getting high like 43 years, so that's a long time for me. The next speaker, I go to a lot of like Richmond meetings, and I heard this lady speak, and I like the way she shares. So I'm going to give you Sheila.
Recovering addict.
Hey, Sheila.
My clean date 17, 2011. I lost my mother in August 24, 2012. I lost my father September the 14th, 2015. And I haven't found it necessary to use, right? And I'm gonna give you a little something. I remember coming in here with my girlfriend the night before we got to fighting over a stem. We got to fighting over a stem. Who was gonna get the last push? Who was right? They told me I could just keep it raw, right? All right. So we went in the court. The police came. She had a little warrant, whatever. They locked her up. I came and got her out. She get a disability. It's almost the first of the month. The judge give her 10 days. I want to appeal it. She want to stay. She want to get away from me. Who in the hell want to go to jail for 10 days just to get away from me? That means I'm a piece of work, right? I got some behaviors, right? So let me go back. I'm the youngest of 5. I got 3 brothers and 1 sister. I grew up with using drugs. I went to a Catholic school, right? And I used to have to walk 12 blocks to go to Catholic school. But when I get home in the Northside Highland Park, in my home, they party. And the girls, whatever we wanted to do, we had to do it at home. We couldn't go out in the street. So my first cigarette, I had to smoke in front of my mother. And from that day, my mother brought me a pack of cigarettes every day. If I wanted to smoke weed, my first joint had to be in front of my mother. My first drink was the parties in the backyard, and and after the party, they say, go clean up, go clean up. And I go clean up, but I'm also sipping whatever's in the glass. Curiosity, right? And I used to love to clean up. And I remember when I graduated the 8th grade at the Catholic school, my mother asked me, what did I want for graduation? And I said, I want a half a gallon of vodka. And I got the half a gallon of vodka. And me and my friends sat on the curb and we drunk that half a gallon of vodka. Because like I said, anything we had to do, we didn't have to do it at home. My brothers can go out in the street, do what they want to do, but the girls, whatever we wanted to do, we had to do it at home. We couldn't. I remember going down the street smoking a cigarette, and my brother saw me, and he went and told my mother, and I got my ass whipped for walking down the street with a cigarette. Because they say ladies don't walk down the street, but when they found out I was gay, it was another story. So I remember one Christmas, I'm telling you, this is the norm for us. One Christmas, I brought everybody a necklace with a spoon for Christmas. I brought every one of my siblings got this, the necklace with a spoon to snort coke, because that's what's the norm for my family, right? And everybody had one. And if they lost, it was like, yo, where yours at? So I remember being introduced to that crack. That crack a terrible thing, man. And what happened in 1989, I went in front of the judge, and the judge gave me 100 years. 100. 100 years. That judge hit that thing, say, pop. You are no longer my friend. I sentence you to 100 years. I couldn't even imagine to see what that looked like. That was in 89. I graduated from high school in 82. I couldn't even picture being locked up for 100 years. But what he did, he suspended, right? So back then, you only did a little bit of your time. So I did, it was like, for 5 years, you do like a year and a half, right? So I go in and I do that year and a half, I do it, but then I go out, and every time I chip it, I keep coming back, and every time I go back, he doubling my time. He doubling it. I don't even know that I'm suffering with a disease of addiction. I just think something's wrong with him and not me. And not me. Something's wrong with him. And I kept chipping, and I remember the last time I caught a little misdemeanor joint. I ain't never had a misdemeanor charge. And I had on the orange, and it felt good. It felt good. I got comfortable with coming in, squatting, and coughing. I got comfortable. It became a norm. So when I had on that orange, and I got like 45 days, I was like, I can do that standing on one leg. I can do this. But just when I thought I was going home, they called my name and said, come to the back. I had to change from orange to brown because I got violated. Again, I'm chipping. This time the judge gave me 20 years more from that 100. I'm gonna go somewhere with this story because that's just like a shot. It's a shot of hope in this story. I ended up doing like 4.5 years. And it didn't really hit me until I started missing Christmas and birthdays and Thanksgiving, and they just give you some cold. I started missing that stuff. And that was so defiant that I stayed on lockdown. Be advised that Sheila is 24-hour lockdown. Well, you. Be advised that Sheila on 48 lockdown. Well, you. Before I know it, I'm a whole week locked down because of my behavior, not knowing that I suffer with a disease of addiction, right? So I come home after 4 years. The same day I come home, I go scold. They had it in the jail, but I ain't want it in the jail. I'm too good for that. I ain't doing, no, I don't want that. But the same day I get home, I go out the back door and go scold. The next day I gotta see my PO. My PO asks for a urine. My mother is with me. I go pee. It's what? Dirty. My mama going, it can't be dirty. She just came home yesterday. He said, okay, I understand. Well, just drink this water and we're going to try to pee again. I understand. It could be a mistake. It could be a mistake. I drank the water and I sat. I went and peed and it was still dirty. Nothing had changed. And he said to me, he said, only reason why I'm not locking you up because of the pain in your mother eyes. Not the pain that I was causing myself, but the pain in my mother eyes. Mind you, I wasn't even home 24 hours. 24 hours. And yet still, I don't think I suffer with the disease of addiction. So time passes and something happens. I start going to these meetings that I had been going in and out for a long time because I thought it was a cult. I thought they was crazy. They won't like me. They ain't get high with me. They ain't hang with me. I can't fool with them people. They don't know me. So every time I would go into a meeting, I would leave and I would run out after the meeting over with. And one time this dude said, well, where you going? I said, I got somewhere to be. I ain't had nowhere to be. I just didn't want to be around them. And they said, dude said, well, how about this? How about the next meeting, since you smoke, stand on the sidewalk and smoke a cigarette. And I stood on the sidewalk and I smoked a cigarette and people was gossiping. They was talking about other people. And I said, shit, that's right down my alley. Drama, chaos, confusion. That's down my alley. So I was like, who y'all talking about? And I started fitting in a little bit because I started smoking on the sidewalk and I started identifying what they were saying, right? And I was like, damn, just maybe I do have a problem with the disease of addiction. Just maybe, right? So I get a job and I get this job because they told me you can, old dreams awaken and new possibilities arrive. And I started getting this stuff. Right? And I get this job at this hospital because the lady told me that she'll give me a job even though I had the 100 years. But what I didn't address was the inside. So because I'm getting all this stuff and I'm shining, right? I'm shining. I went and got high. I got it going on. I took that. I went and brought some, went to work on 11-7, went down in the basement and was smoking crack in the bathroom. And all I could hear was boop, boop. All the fire alarms went off. The smoke alarms went boop, and I can't move because I'm stuck. Can't move because I'm stuck. I'm like, it's like, what the? Please don't come in this bathroom. 15 minutes passed, I finally can move. But because of my behavior, I end up losing the best job I ever had. Right? But I start coming back. I done picked up so many, did so many white key tags, because they say all you gotta have is a desire. I like that part. They took the honesty out because they know I'm a lie. Whew. They took honesty out just for me. It just said a desire, and I began to have a desire. I ain't say I was wanting to stay clean. I said a desire, right? My mother got sick, and things started to change. And I remember this young lady telling me that I could go back to school. She said, they pay you to go to school. You know, I'm working at Quiznos. For real, you talking about 100 years of felony? I'm working at Quiznos. I'm making subs. I'm like, am I really gonna be doing this the rest of my life? Making sub sandwiches. So this girl said, you know they pay you to go to school. They pay. She say pay. Oh, I'm all in. You talking about money. He talk about money. I said, oh, let me try it out. I went and applied myself at school. I graduated in 82. I took a math test. I had a 44 on my math test. The girl had a 34 that was next to me. And I said, I'm in the right place. Because somebody's score was lesser than mine. At least I'm smarter than one person in here, right? At least I stand a chance, right? Then somebody said, you know, they offer tutor downstairs for free. I said, huh? But mind you, in order for me to get the money, I got to go to school. And in order to get and when I go to school, now I got to do the work, right? Because I want the money. So I began to do the work. I went to the tutor classes, right, for my math. By the time I finished, my math scores was a 98, 99, right? I continued to go to school because they was continuing to pay me. When my mother passed, she passed before I could graduate from college. And it did a whirlwind on me. But I ain't stopped, right? And I remember driving in my truck, and it wasn't raining. And I just found out I was graduating. And I felt some wet hit my cheeks. My mother was saying she was proud of me, right? Because I hadn't used drugs either. Let me tell you about that part. Because see, before she passed, I had got a project. I filled out for an apartment like 3-4 years ago based on your income. And right before she passed, they called me and they told me I was approved for this project. This same project where I used to score at. And I got that project, but I told my mother I wasn't leaving yet. I'm not going to live there because I need to finish taking care of you. I'm clean now. So now she has my undivided attention, right? I got some stuff to do. Because I remember being on my knees, crawling on my mama in my mama's bedroom and getting her last $20 out of her pocketbook. I remember that. I remember like it was yesterday. I remember her giving me money to pay the mortgage and I spent it. I remember it like yesterday. I remember. So when my mother passed, the only thing I could do was is go to a meeting and call somebody because I ain't want to use. Now I'm going to tell you this. I had two girlfriends. I had one that was doing her thing, smoking weed, drinking, and I had one that was in recovery. When my mother passed, I called both. Here are my choices. You hear me? These are choices. But I only got one decision. And that one decision was to call the one that was in recovery. I could have went this way. She would have opened her door. We would have drank. We would have smoked. We would have did all that. Because that's how I was feeling. But this one was in recovery. And I knew that I needed a better way. Because my biggest enabler was gone. And that was my mother. My biggest enabler. So I end up moving in the projects where I schooled at. And I was walking to the store and the dude said, yo, I got it. And I don't know where it came from. It said, crack kill. It just came out without my permission. Without my permission. He was like, what? And I was like, it killed, man. I don't do that no more. And when they started seeing me, they respected me because I wasn't going to them to scope. They was like, hey, Miss Sheila. Hey, how you doing, Miss Sheila? I'm like, God damn. It was a different feel from when I scored because I was just a dirty somebody that just had a few dollars like everybody else, and they just want my money and talk about the crackhead walking down the street. But then they start saying Miss Sheila. You know, and I end up graduating from college, right? I end up graduating. I end up getting a job. I end up moving out the project because now I'm trusting the process. So here's the hit. I went to court for something. And I wanted to get expunged. I was going in the rooms and I was sharing with people, raising my hand, crying about a charge that I got, which I ain't go to jail for. And this guy told me, he said, well, won't you go to John Marshall Courtroom, go to room 102, tell him you don't have no money, you want some expunged off your record. He said it just like that. Guess what I did? I went to room 102, told him I wanted some expunged on my record, and I ain't had no money. It went just the way I wanted it to go. I went in front of the judge. He said, can you please tell me why you want this little thing off your record when your record is long as Broad Street? What is this little thing? And I said, Your Honor, this will hinder me. So I need this expunged off my record. He said, okay. And I said, Your Honor, by the way, because now I got a voice. I ain't stuck no more. Your Honor, since you said my record long is Broad Street, can you expunge some more stuff? He said, come back and see me. I'm talking about that 100 them years that I still had left. I went back to see him, and I got the rest of that shit expunged off my record. I'm talking about some simple suggestions, like don't use, right? Don't pick it up, it won't get in you. Damn, that shit was complicated when I first heard it. What do you mean, don't pick it? What do you mean? Don't pick it up, it won't get in you. Don't pick it up, it won't get in you, huh? That was hard for me to grasp. I didn't understand that. And they said, imagine you just picking up an ink pen to write. How you gonna write if you don't pick it up? That means how you gonna get the drug in you if you don't pick it up? Well, how you stay away from them? They say stay away from them people, places, and things you use with and that. How you what? Who? And hang with you? That ain't happening. That ain't happening. But I found those same people because I remember having 6 months clean, and I had my mother's car, and I went around them people because I had a job and I was clean, and I wanted them to see how good I looked. And before I left, I had sold the rims off my mama car because I wanted them to see how good I look. But they had me using before I could get them clean. People were sharing their experience, strength, and hope with me, and I didn't get it. But it was only through my experience that I got it, because I ain't believe that it worked. So those people, places, things, I had to take Hulu number out and get Barbie number, right? I had to take Fufu number out, right, and just get anybody number. I had to flip them numbers. I had to flip them people that I was dealing with. One by one, those numbers was coming out my phone. One by one. Because if you tell me to take them out, they ain't coming out. But if I do one by one, so when I would start going to meetings, I'll get somebody's number and I'll take a number out that wasn't good for me. I took the negative and took it to a positive. Right? It's only through my experience, strength, and hope that I can make it. And sometimes it's 1 minute at a time because life ain't easy. And this the beauty of it. I love getting high. I had to accept that I love it. But I had to surrender that I don't like the consequences that come with it. I can tell y'all I don't like it. I can tell you I ain't like the way it made me feel. I can tell you all that, but I'd be lying. I just don't like the consequences. The consequences, not eating, not washing my ass, not working, not paying no. Oh, I can go on and on and on and on. What it does to me, it does something to me. So I had to come somewhere and start going to rooms. I don't know none of y'all pathway. What y'all pathway is gonna be? I don't know. But mine is Narcotics Anonymous, right? And I said Narcotics Anonymous has gave me a new way of life. Let me tell you this. Old dreams awaken, new possibilities arrive. I don't know how much time I got, but look. I said, now I want to drive a tractor trailer. I want my CDL. Because everybody told me they getting a CDL. So now I want a CDL. I go to CDL school. I can't drive because I'm too short. The truck's old. They gave me 3 pullers, and I still can't get the clutch. So I say, this one ain't for me. This one ain't for me. I'm saying that to say anything is possible if I don't use drugs. If I don't use drugs, I got a degree, I got the RPS, I got a little CSAC A, I got all these things. But all that shit can go up in smoke if I don't stay in this lane. I got to stay in this lane. Not my right, not my left, but in this lane. See, I got a rear view mirror in my car, and it's real small, right? And sometimes I got to look in that rear view mirror to look at my past to remind me not to go back. On the car, that rear view mirror is so small. But sometimes I got to glance back from where I came from so I won't go back again. Because I can't go back. I gave you my clean date, but that don't mean shit. Because I can use at a drop of a dime. All of it fitting the still. You already know. Right? So I just stay right here. I stay right here. I don't go right, I just stay right here. My thing is no more 2-block radius. Right? Since January, I've been to California, Ocean City, Maryland, Baltimore. I'm getting ready to go to Harlem. I got some plans, right? Because I got some money, right? I get to save some money. But I got to remember all of them will go up in smoke too, because it's only stuff. If I don't do the work on the inside that made me use in the first place, I'm out back. See, I got to get honest with this stuff that stirs up like being molested at 3 years old by the babysitter and the babysitter brother. And then get molested by a family member. Right? And then get my ass whooped when I turned 12 because I came on my period. And he can't do it no more, so he whipped my ass. That stuff. Because he was scared that I might just get pregnant. That stuff. And then I got to look at him. Then I got to find some forgiveness for him. Because I remember he was in Kentucky and they said he didn't know if he was going to make it. And they needed somebody to come and get him and visit him. They needed somebody to at least identify his body. And I'm in my home group called Shadow Hope. And God said, you go. And I'm like, you done lost. If I go, I'm going to pull the plug. If I go. But I go and I see him and I help him and I come back home and he's calling me and he's calling me and he's calling me and I have a conversation when I have and all I want him to say is that he's sorry. And one day he says, I'm sorry for all I did to you. Man, you talking about like 50, 60 pounds lifted off my shoulder. I just wanted him to say he was sorry. And when he said it, my shoulders dropped. The tears flowed. Then I started asking for some forgiveness. Freedom! I started asking for forgiveness because I wanted to kill him. I wanted to kill him. But now when I see him, it's all love. It's all love, right? And it all came from freeing myself up, doing some step work, right? And getting that stuff up out of me, because I got to share it with somebody. If I can go from the dope man that I ain't never met a day in my life, why I can't go tell a stranger about what's going on with me? Only thing you're gonna do is probably tell somebody else. That's all they can do with it. It ain't gonna kill me. It's gonna make me stronger. So I gotta dig in, and I continue to dig, and I continue to dig, so I can find out what really made Sheila use and what will have Sheila use again. Because it's a thing called relapse. We got a blue book, Recovery and Relapse. See, one thing about that blue book, I'm gonna close with that blue book is about recovery. It ain't about the ad, it's about recovery, about getting better, re-entry, get some stuff back that I lost, because I lost my integrity, I lost the boundaries that I had for myself, I just lost self-esteem, low self-worth, respect, I lost all that. But behind something this big. So now instead of using this as a crack, I use it for a little bit of faith of a mustard seed. Come on. A little. I used to give some for something this small to destroy my body. Now I done flipped it to that little mustard seed of faith. And I continue to just have that little mustard seed of faith. Because I don't want to smoke crack no more. I love it, but it don't like me. It's like a relationship. I keep saying I'm a close. I'm going to say this when it close. Hey, look, you ever been in a relationship where you somebody love you and you love them back? I rest my case.
Thank you, man. Get at the John. Awesome. Man, I mean, we started this thing off with, man, you got to address them demons. They'll chase you for the rest of your life. You know what I mean? One day at a time. All right, let's give our speakers a hand.
We brought fire tonight, man.
Yeah.
I tell you what.
Tay, Beyonce, Steve, and Sheila.
There
Let's
you
give
go.
them clap.
They ain't a jail program in America got what y'all got tonight.
That's right.
I guarantee you that.
That's
We're
right.
always grateful to Sheriff lets us in here, and Pam takes the time out to bring y'all down here. I mean, it's a hit, man. Y'all lucky.
Yeah.
I don't know if you feel lucky in that, but you are.
Blessed.
So,
yeah.
We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yep, 2 weeks. Get excited.
Yeah.
We're going to bring 8 speakers next time we come.
Good job, Steve.
Thank you. That was good.